be your presiding judge today. If we could start, have the teams, have y'all exchanged team rosters? And can y'all provide, I think are we supposed to be providing a copy of those?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks, sir. And today is Team B, are you playing today?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Team C will be defense.
Yes.
Just remind everybody, turn off all your electronic devices, everybody in the courtroom, including all the team members. And also remind everybody there's no communication from this point on between the teams and people in the courtroom. I do see that there's a video camera. Are both teams okay with this being recorded? If y'all want to go through, we'll start with the plaintiff. If y'all could each identify, introduce your team members and their roles.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. My name is Richard Heath, and I, along with my co-counsel Michelle Lee and Howard Lee, will be representing the plaintiff. We have Anna, who is playing Casey Murray. We have Hannah Lord, who is playing Tobin O'Reilly, and Arya Sundaram, who is playing Devin Green.
Thank you, sir. And for the defense?
Sir, I'm Matthew Cowan, and with my co-counsel Austin Moody and Matt Minion. Here at the defense, and for our witnesses, we have Shannon Dempsey, who is being played by Jessica Woods. We have Jordan Reddick, who is being played by Carson Smith. And we have Tucker Daniels, who is going to be playing Jessica Reed.
Thank you, sir. And just to check, is there anybody in the courtroom present who is not associated with one of the teams? Are there any pre-trial matters that you can discuss? Is the plaintiff ready to give an opening statement?
Yes, Your Honor. May I have permission to move back to court, please?
You may proceed.
May I also ask that the date of the moved to the jury box so I may keep track of my remaining time?
Yes.
Members of the jury, I'd first like to thank you for taking the time to hear the tragic case of Mia Donovan, a story that started out with hopes and dreams, but ended in evidence. Mia was an exceptional girl both on the soccer field and off, and she was steadily climbing the ladder towards success. However, in May of 2011, disaster struck in the form of a concussion. But were her dreams over? No, because the evidence will show that her coach, Tobin O'Reilly, took the necessary actions to ensure Mia's recovery. And so, disaster was averted, and Mia continued to climb steadily towards success. But mayhem struck again, and this time, there was no reasonable coach, only a negligent one. The evidence will show that Rubicon Soccer Club coach Shannon Dempsey and club director Jordan Reddick were supposed to protect their players, but they didn't. The evidence will show that they didn't step up. They didn't take the necessary actions to protect Mia. First of all, the evidence will show that Shannon Dempsey did not check players' forms that showed previous injuries, including Mia's previous concussion. Today, Dr. Bevan Register will testify that such information is crucial, as it is much more likely for people to suffer repeat concussions. But you know, checking the medical forms just didn't occur to Shannon. But this ignorance is only the tip of the iceberg. During one Rubicon soccer practice in November of 2011, Mia fell and struck her head. She was slow to get up, and the evidence will show that she exhibited common signs and symptoms of concussions. However, the evidence will also show that Dempsey did not inform Mia's mother of this incident. Dempsey did not advise that Mia be checked by medical personnel, and Dempsey did not even check up on Mia herself. It just slipped her mind. However, the worst had not happened yet. 4 days later, during the first half of the college showcase game, Mia suffered a blow to the head. The evidence will show that Shannon Dempsey did not take Mia out of the game to just check on her. Furthermore, during halftime, Shannon Dempsey did not ask Mia about any possible concussion symptoms. What Dempsey did do was put Mia right back into the frenzy afterwards. And so, disaster and tragedy reared its ugly head and struck. About 15 to 20 minutes after Dempsey put Mia back into the game, Mia lost her balance. She fell hard and hit the ground with her head very hard. And she didn't get up. She didn't move. Members, Mia isn't here today. Why? She's not even here and present to argue her own case because of symptoms sustained by her concussion. Even after over a year later, she still experiences intense side effects and probably will for the rest of her life. She's not even able to function in this very courtroom. Members, look at this slide. Easy to do, right? Mia can't look. That is how much pain these symptoms have caused her. That is how much these concussions have affected her life and future. The evidence will show the defendants had a duty of care towards their players and breached that duty. Reddick, as club director, did not implement any concussion protocols, even though she had ample opportunity to do so. The evidence will show that these breaches of duty caused Mia's terrible injuries. The evidence will show that the defendants did not step up and take the necessary actions to ensure Mia's safety, thus leaving her with an unhappy ending. Members, unfortunately, Mia can't get her life back, but you can help her get justice. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Ms. Spence, would you give an opening statement?
Yes, Your Honor, I ask permission to adopt it.
You may.
Members of the jury, Your Honor, and the opposing counsel, thank you for your time today. Mia Donovan was one of Rubicon Soccer Club's star players. She was very important to the organization. And during one of the showcase tournaments of Rubicon, she fell and was knocked out unconscious. And this is indeed a tragedy, but tragedy does not equate to liability. And the plaintiff now is saying that our client is liable for Miss Donovan's injuries that she has sustained. The plaintiff is going to call several witnesses who know what a concussion is and can easily identify it. One of those is Tobin O'Reilly. And Tobin O'Reilly will state that he made it obvious and clear what a concussion is and how to treat the symptoms of his body. It will also be made known that he was able to see Miss Donovan after the 28th of November, where she may have suffered a possible concussion. And he did nothing to check on her and see if she had a concussion, even though she showed some possible concussional symptoms. The defense, we will call three witnesses. First, we will call Shannon Dempsey, Rubicon Soccer Club's coach. And she is going to explain to you the purpose of their medical release waiver form. And she is also going to explain to you how Rubicon cares about all their players and some of the protocols they have to make sure they're all right. We will also call Jordan Reddick, the director from Rubicon Soccer Club. And she will tell you how Rubicon offers an ACL prevention program, which is and they are one of the few soccer clubs in New Caesarea to offer this program. And finally, we will call Chris Durant, Mia's close personal friend, who will tell you that Mia, after the 28th, knew she was experiencing symptoms of concussion, yet she wanted to make sure that nobody else knew about it. She gave him explicit instructions to tell absolutely nobody that she was experiencing these symptoms. Members of the jury, I ask you, the court will show you that if you find the plaintiff to be 51% or more negligent to the liability of Ms. Donovan's injuries, then you must find the defense or the defendant not guilty. Thank you for your time.
Yes, sir. Madam Bailiff, if the witness has been sworn.
Please stand and raise your right hand. Do you promise that the testimony you're about to give today will truthfully and accurately conform to the facts and rules of the mock trial competition? I do. Please.
Is the plaintiff ready to proceed with their first witness?
Yes, Your Honor.
You may call your witness.
At this time, the plaintiff would like to call Dr. Devin Register to the stand. please introduce yourself to the board?
Hello, my name is Dr. Bevan Register. I'm the director of the Geller Sports-Related Concussion Research Center. I'm also the department chair of UNC's Department of Sports and Exercise Science.
And what is your relation to today's case?
Alongside being an expert in concussions, I was adopted by Sonia after her injury in 2007.
Could you tell us a little bit about your education?
Yes, I have a master's degree in anesthesiology from UNC, as well as a sports medicine degree, a PhD from UAPBA, where my PhD thesis focused on balance testing to help confirm concussion and help someone recover.
What kind of work have you done since leaving school?
I've published over 200 scholarly journal articles focusing on the nature of concussions, as well as chapters. I won the medal for distinguished research in my work with concussions as well.
And what is your work focused on today?
More recently, I've been focusing my work at the Geller Concussion Research Center. We've been working with athletes to help them be more aware of concussions, as well as health notifications.
Your Honor, at this time, the plaintiff would like to tender Dr. Bevan Register as an expert in sports medicine.
Any objection? So tendered.
So what is a concussion?
Concussion is a kind of brain injury caused by a blow or jolt to the head. They're most common in sports.
And what happens when that blow or jolt occurs?
The brain within the skull actually shakes. I like to use the metaphor of a snow globe.
What are some symptoms of concussion?
There are 4 general categories for the symptoms of concussions. First of all, there are various cognitive symptoms, such as slow processing issues with memory. Second of all, there are various physical issues that can occur, balance issues, sensitivity to light and noise. Third of all, there are various mood swings and mood issues that can occur. And lastly, sleep issues, trouble falling asleep states.
When did you first meet Leon?
In February of 2012, after her injury in December,
What was she like at that?
apparently Mia had been tackled during a soccer game and she fell quite hard. It became quite clear to me within the short time I met Mia that she was more than likely suffering from the effects of concussion.
What were the symptoms that led you to believe that?
First of all, Mia had various cognitive issues, like slow processing speed. Second of all, Mia had various physical issues, sensitivity to light and noise, like I said before, balance. Mia also had mood swings, and lastly, Mia had sleep issues. All these symptoms display that she was indeed suffering from the effects of concussion.
Is Mia in court today?
She's not.
Why?
Mia is still suffering from severe cognitive and physical issues, sensitive to light and noise and headaches as well. So, it is more than likely that Mia will not be able to appear in court.
How can sports organizations help with concussion?
It's very critical that sports organizations ask for past history of concussion, especially because the player is 4 to 6 times more likely to sustain a second concussion after a first one is already occurred. Also, sports organizations can train their coaches to recognize the symptoms of concussion.
So how can coaches help prevent concussions?
Well, coaches being responsible adults in this situation should be alert to symptoms that players might try to hide.
Now, in order to prevent a concussion, how can players recover?
Rest is a very key part of recovery. Even if symptoms have gone away within 20 minutes, a player should be given at least 2 weeks to recover before going back into play, especially with adolescent minds who are still developing.
In your professional opinion, was Mia's injury a resulting condition of work?
Most likely. According to my assessment, Mia sustained 2 concussions on December 2nd, 2011. The decision to have Mia go back in the game, as well as with the occurrence of the second blow, these were more than likely key factors in Mia's ongoing problems.
Can Mia make a full recovery from her injury?
Given the severity of Mia's condition now, over a year later, it's most likely that she won't be able to recover. It's very tragic. She's such a promising young person who is all she wants to have.
Any further questions?
Thanks. Cross-examination from the defense.
Dr. Register, isn't it true that you're not a medical doctor?
It's not. It is true.
Isn't it true that you are unaware of even a single medical doctor who shares your opinions about how long this daughter's injuries are likely to last?
Excuse me, can you repeat the question?
Isn't it true that you are unaware of even a single medical doctor who shares your opinions about how long this daughter's injuries are likely to last?
Objection. Honor. This question calls for speculation.
Dr. Register is an expert witness and non-medical doctor, so I was wondering if she knew any medical doctors that share her opinion. Being that expert witness and being familiar with everything related to concussions.
I'm gonna allow her to answer the question if she knows that, so I'm gonna overrule the question.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, do you mind repeating the question?
Isn't it true that you are unaware of even a single medical doctor who shares your opinions about how long Ms. Donovan's injuries are likely to last?
This is true, but I'm not aware of many doctors that Mia has been in contact with.
Adults who are charged with supervising young athletes who have experienced a concussion have a role in the athlete's treatment. Is that correct, Dr. Register?
Yes.
Isn't it true that one of these roles is to follow the recommendations of the athlete's treating physician?
Yes.
You are familiar with the acute concussion evaluation form prepared by the physician who examined Ms. Donovan on May 5th, 2011.
Yes, I am.
Isn't it true that you did not interview Ms. Donovan's treating physician as a part of the work you did for this case?
No, I did not.
Isn't it true that because you did not interview Ms. Donovan's treating physician, you do not know whether she should have ever participated in soccer again?
Maybe you could repeat the question.
Isn't it true that because you did not interview Ms. Donovan's treating physician, you do not know whether she should have ever participated in soccer again?
This is true, but for my evaluation of Mia and looking at the evaluation plan, her concussion was very minor.
In addition to adults, isn't it true that the athletes themselves have certain responsibilities when it comes to concussions?
Yes, but I believe that coaches are the responsible adults in the situation.
Isn't it true that one or more of these responsibilities includes an athlete who has previously suffered one or more concussions to personally inform each of her coaches?
Yes, and especially on medical forms that might be asked of the
Actually, yeah, I'm sponsored.
Your Honor, I believe my witness has the opportunity to expound on her answer so that she can give you a full.
I'm gonna allow her to explain your question, or answer your question.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Overrule the objection. You may proceed.
Sorry, do you mind repeating the question?
Isn't it true, excuse me, in addition to adults, isn't it true that athletes themselves have certain responsibilities when it comes to concussions?
Yes, they do have certain responsibilities, like maybe indicating on medical forms of their past concussion.
In your opinion, any student athlete who fails to follow rules and medical advice has chosen to participate in dangerous behavior?
Yes, they have. If they tell their coaches about any past history of concussions, and if their coaches are on the lookout, then they're less likely to get medical attention.
Isn't it true that any athlete who chooses to participate in a sporting event before telling her coach about a prior concussion has chosen to engage in dangerous behavior?
Yes, but if they have told the coach about prior concussions, then
Isn't it true that another one of these responsibilities is to tell an adult when the athlete first thinks he or she may have suffered a concussion? Is this correct, Dr. Register?
yes.
The reason you make this recommendation is that sometimes the symptoms of concussion are not always visible and are only known to the athlete.
Yes, but if, like I said before, if coach knows about past history of concussions, or if they even see a blow or jolt to the head, they can link these symptoms to concussion.
In your professional opinion, isn't it true that any student athlete who fails to report that she may have suffered concussion has engaged in improper, dangerous behavior?
Sorry.
In your professional opinion, isn't it true that any student athlete who fails to report that she may have suffered concussion has engaged in dangerous behavior?
Yes, they have.
Isn't it true that any student athlete who intentionally conceals a concussion from the adults has engaged in dangerous behavior?
Yes, but their coaches, being responsible adults in the situation, should be more alert to these symptoms.
Isn't it true that another one of your recommendations is for student athletes to refrain from all sports activities until examined and released by a medical doctor? Isn't it true that any athlete who chooses to hide a concussion instead of seeking immediate medical treatment has engaged in dangerous behavior?
They have engaged in dangerous behavior, but their coaches don't.
Isn't it true that any athlete who chooses to intentionally conceal a possible concussion and play a soccer game instead of seek medical assistance has chosen to engage in dangerous behavior?
Objection, Your Honor, asked and answered.
I'm going to ask it. You continue. Overrule.
Isn't it true that any athlete who chooses to intentionally conceal a possible concussion and play a soccer game instead of seek medical assistance has chosen to engage in dangerous behavior?
Yes, which is why they should tell their coach about that.
Dr. Register, isn't it true that you are aware of 3 separate head injuries involving Ms. Donovan?
Yes.
Isn't it true that you are unable to form any opinion as to which of these 3 possible events actually caused Ms. Donovan to suffer the symptoms you observed during your examination of her?
All of these symptoms, all of these concussions probably.
Objection, Your Honor, non-responsive.
I was just instructed the witness to answer his question.
Thank you.
You asked your question.
Isn't it true, isn't it true that you are unable to form any opinion as to which of these 3 possible events actually caused Ms. Donovan to suffer the symptoms you observed during your examination of her?
No. Actually, I believe that all of these concussions probably attributed slightly to her ongoing conditions, but the last one in particular, and the small amount of time in between the last 2 probably contribute to the severity of her symptoms.
Thank you, Your Honor. No further questions.
Redirect.
Yes. Now, how typically do players inform their coaches about those things?
Usually players they don't tell their coaches as much. They try to hide their symptoms.
So how do you recommend that players do make sure their coaches know about that?
Like I've been saying, telling their coaches about past history of concussions, so that their coaches, when they're in doubt, they can sit their players on.
Are there any questions?
Recross. Missed that. Plan to call the next one.
Yes, Your Honor. I would like to call Ms. Donovan to the stand. Please introduce yourself to the court.
Hello, my name is Casey Donovan, and I am the daughter of a single mother.
Mrs. Donovan, you say single. Do you mind telling us what happened?
Well, about 8 years ago, I lost my husband in a car accident.
So, how did Mia get into playing soccer?
Well, shortly after my father's accident, I was looking for activities that Mia could put herself into to try and distract her or help her move past grief. So I put her in activities such as Girl Scouts and soccer and other sports, and it turned out she was really, really good at soccer.
So, can you please describe Mia's first injury?
Mia's first injury was at her high school team under Coach Raleigh, and so she was playing in this game, and she collided with a player on the opposite team. And when she got up, she was acting a little woozy, a little dizzy, not quite like herself. So Coach Raleigh suggested that we seek medical help because he was concerned that she had a concussion.
So how did this first injury affect Mia's life?
Well, this injury, it really didn't affect her life significantly. A couple days she sat out from soccer as we were instructed by the doctor. So she missed their first game against another rival team. And I made sure to write on medical forms for when signing me up for Rubicon. She had suffered a previous concussion, which is one concussion can make you more susceptible to but other than that, her symptoms disappeared after about a week.
So, why did you sign Mia up for Rubicon?
Well, since my daughter really excelled at soccer, I wanted her to be able to pursue soccer and continue excelling. So I signed her up for Rubicon because I knew their teams were really competitive and the coaches really pushed their players hard. We had a coach, Shannon Dempsey. It was expensive to sign her up for Rubicon, so I had to take on another job, but it was well worth it because I wanted her to be able to pursue her dreams.
So, when signing up for Rubicon, what kind of medical information did you have to record reflect that I am showing opposing counsel a copy. Mrs. Donovan, what is this?
This is the medical waiver form that I filled out through.
Are you familiar with this?
Yes, this is the copy of the medical waiver form that I filled out.
Is this a fair and accurate representation?
Yes, it is.
Your Honor, I would like to enter Exhibit 5 into evidence at this time.
Any objection? Exhibit 5 submitted into evidence.
Yes, Your Honor. So, what medical information does this form specifically provide?
Specifically, it asks about last tetanus shot, medical allergies, or any other allergies.
Does anything surprise you about this form?
Well, I was definitely surprised that it didn't ask about previous concussions because, as I said before, I knew that having one concussion made me more susceptible to more.
Mrs. Donovan, would you please direct your attention to the line that says, was any unusual health information? Did you write anything on this line?
Yes, it is.
Ms. Donovan, could you kindly read what you wrote on this line?
Mild concussion in May 2011 on school team.
Mild concussion on May 2011.
School team, thank you.
Now, moving on, what kind of information on concussions did your recon send home?
They didn't send home any information on concussions. Actually, I don't think they sent home any information on any kinds of health problems.
Thank you. So, now moving on to the college showcase game. Could you please describe what happened during the first half of the game on December?
Well, I arrived a little bit late. I had a phone call from work, so I got there to watch the game. I noticed Mia got elbowed in the head by someone on the other team, and she started looking a little wobbly, but Coach Debs didn't throw her out of the game.
So then, what happened during the second half?
Well, initially she almost made a score into the goal, but it was blocked. And then about 10 minutes after that, she tripped and fell. And I encouraged her to get right back up. I mean, usually soccer players fall, they pop right back up. But she remained on the soccer field. And so I was sitting in my seat in the stands, and I just kept thinking to myself, I already lost my sister, but I couldn't lose my daughter too. So I was so worried I had to get over my initial shock. And so I ran down to the field, and the paramedics had been called because Mia was still unconscious, and Shannon Dempsey was down there. And she told me, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I knew Mia wasn't feeling well. And that was the first time I had heard that Mia wasn't feeling well. So I wondered why she hadn't told me that before.
Thank you. Can you tell us about how Mia has been affected by this injury?
Well, this injury has severely impacted my daughter. She suffers from a lot of concussive symptoms, sensitivity to light, headaches. She's not in court today because she doesn't handle stress very well. She's only able to take one online class, and so she won't be graduating from long-term class in the spring and going on to college.
Thank you. Now, finally, could you please describe for us why you're here in court today?
I'm here in court today to prevent this from happening to another family because it has hurt my family so much. I am just devastated that my daughter can't pursue her dreams with soccer because of this injury. And I think that Rubicon needs to be held accountable and that they also need to put programs in place to prevent concussions from happening to other people. I know they have a program that prevents ACL injuries, and I'm not sure why they didn't pursue getting a program to prevent concussions as well. So that's what my daughter got, and that's what severely impacted her life.
Thank you. No further questions. Before I got permission to enter exhibit, publish exhibit 5 to the jury.
You may.
Should I give it to the bailiff or should I give it directly?
Well, you can just give it to the bailiff. I mean, you can give it to the jury.
No further questions.
Cross-examination.
Yes, Your Honor. My name is Matthew Medea. Your daughter, Ms. Donovan, suffered a concussion in May of 2011, correct?
Yes, she did.
This is with high school, was it not?
Yes. Her previous concussion covered under Coach Raleigh.
The injury required medical treatment, correct?
It did. I took her, Coach Raleigh was concerned that she got a concussion, so I took her to the doctor the next day, and it did turn out that she had one.
Isn't it true you had the opportunity to listen to the information and instructions issued by a trained physician?
I did.
Isn't it true that you received treatment documents from this physician?
I did.
You didn't follow all the instructions in this document, isn't that correct?
I definitely made her sit out from soccer practice for the week as described on that sheet, and that ended up being the rest of the season. There was
Objection, non-responsive.
Should, I'll allow the witness to answer the question and give an explanation. Objection. You asked your question.
You didn't follow all the instructions on this document, isn't that correct?
I followed some, but not others. I can think of one thing that I may not have followed. So I did, like I said before, make her sit out for soccer, make her rest. The doctor suggested that we come back for a follow-up visit. I didn't come back for the follow-up visit because after Mia's symptoms disappeared fairly quickly, and it was going to end up that she was going to be sitting out for about at least 3 months because the soccer season was over, and medical costs are very expensive, and I have money.
The purpose of the follow-up visit was to evaluate whether your daughter's injury had completely healed and it was safer to participate in sports activities, correct?
I believe that is correct. The medical professional is definitely correct.
Isn't it true that because you chose to ignore the doctor's directive, we do not know what he would have determined about how well your daughter's injury had healed?
That is true.
Because you chose to ignore the doctor's directive, we do not know if he would have authorized her to return to play. Isn't that correct?
We don't know, but like I said, she ended up sitting out from the soccer season for a good 3 months at least.
During the days prior to Miss Donovan's college showcase game, did you notice anything odd about her behavior?
Not really, no. She was stressed out because she had exams that week. So she was staying up late. She was studying very hard. She was a really good student.
Did this strange behavior include an unusual amount of sleep for her?
I mean, she was staying up late. She was studying, so maybe that is the case. Yeah.
Is it true that you had a chance to witness the symptoms displayed by your daughter following her first concussion?
Yes, they did.
The symptoms following the first injury included drowsiness, correct?
Yes.
No further questions now.
Were you ready?
No, no.
You may sit in here. Plaintiff can call their next witness.
Yes, sir. The plaintiff would like to call Logan O'Reilly, please. Could you please introduce yourself to the court?
My name is Logan O'Reilly. I am 34 years old, and I teach physical education, sports medicine, and health at I also coach the junior varsity and varsity boys and girls soccer teams.
And why are you here in court today?
I was Mia's high school soccer coach.
How familiar are you with me?
Well, Mia was really skilled with soccer, obviously, so she actually came to varsity since a freshman. So I've been working very closely with her for 7 years. And she was absolutely the leader for the team. And she had amazing natural ability. She could place the ball exactly where she wanted it, but she also had an amazing work ethic, and she was voted our co-captain that year in 2011. She was also in my advanced personal intelligence class at school, so I knew that she was a really good student as well.
What qualifications do you have for soccer?
Well, I played soccer all my life, including high school, and I got a scholarship to play at the University of New States area, where I majored in exercise and sports science, and I minored in nutrition and education. While I was there, I was a certified soccer referee, and I was coaching part-time at Tri Soccer Club. I graduated in 2000, and I later went on to earn my advanced national coaching license from the National Soccer Coaches Association of America in 2005.
And how are you associated with Rubicon Soccer?
Well, actually, just after I had earned my advanced national diploma, I heard that Rubicon was looking to hire a new club director, and I was really excited for the role. It was a new club, and if I was club director, that meant that I would be able to put what I thought was important for safety in the forefront. So I applied for the job, and I thought my interview went well, but unfortunately, the job went to a dirt credit. And at the time, I was very surprised, but I am very happy with where I am now.
Okay, Ms. O'Reilly, we're gonna switch gears to concussions. What do you know about concussions?
Well, I had learned a little bit about it through school and my various coaching courses, but in 2008, I heard some local football players had died from receiving second concussions, and that really freaked me out. You know, I mean, I wanted to make sure that my players were safe, so I started doing all that I could to learn about concussions when I could help my players because the school could afford an athletic trainer. And then in 2010, the CDC had some recommendations on their site that I could use, and that was pretty good.
How have you used this concussion knowledge?
Well, actually, during Mia's first concussion in the spring of 2011, she collided with the current player in the Raleigh team, and she hit the ground very hard, and she was dazed and confused. She seemed really groggy, and I was actually using a sticker that I got off the CDC website. It had some questions on it to help me determine whether or not she had symptoms of a concussion, and immediately it was clear. So, I mean, she begged me to go back in, but I made her sit out. Her safety was number one. And then after the game ended, I made sure to pull her and mother aside and told them that they had to go see a medical professional to verify Mia's condition. I was not going to let her play until I got her okay with the doctor.
What was brought to your attention about concussions at that time?
Well, concussions have been in the news for years, and their dangerous effects from football and various other sports. But around that time, I saw news coverage from newspapers, TV stations about the passage of a new law in New States area called the Raleigh Act. It basically set up a certain procedure for public high schools to follow to help spread awareness and prevent against concussions. I personally have been implementing very similar procedures. So since the fall of 2010.
What is the goal?
It basically sets up a research center to produce concussion awareness information that schools are required to distribute. It also includes an information fact sheet that's sent home with parents and athletes before athletes can participate in any school sports activities, including practices, because obviously you're still playing soccer, there's still a danger. They have to sign in and return it to the school. It also requires school coaches to follow a certain procedure before allowing players who are suspected of having a concussion to return to play. And so obviously I've been implementing very similar instructions from the CDC website for a very long time, even though it was not yet required by law.
How did you react to Mia's concussion that took her to the hospital?
I mean, I was really devastated. Rome High School lost, well, first of all, we lost an amazing player, but she herself had so much potential. I was really excited to be able to go and play college and pros. She was the most likely out of anybody. And I mean, concussions have been in the news long before the summer of 2011. And coaches really have to stay on top of their game. The world of medicine, and it's changing constantly.
No other questions at this time, Your Honor?
Cross-examination.
Yes, Your Honor, Justice Allen, and I wish to testify. Coach O'Reilly, isn't it true that you study a comprehensive amount on player health?
I'm sorry, could you?
Mr. O'Reilly, isn't it true that you study a comprehensive amount of material on players' health?
That is correct, yes.
And is it true that in doing this, you study specifically concussions?
Well, I've studied various things throughout my years after my coaching education, but in recent years I have been focusing on concussions.
And your initial interest in concussions was sparked after hearing stories that players had died because of concussions. Is this correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And after studying concussions, isn't it correct that you handed out flyers to all of your students?
That is correct.
Coach O'Reilly, is it true that your students saw these materials?
Yes, that is, they should have. All of our players were required to sign them and return them before they could participate in school sports.
Coach O'Reilly, isn't it true that you were aware of some of Mia Donovan's previous injuries?
Yes, I was present
Ms. Donovan 2 times the week 28th of November, is this correct?
Yes, that is correct, on Tuesday and Thursday.
And during this Tuesday that you saw Ms. Donovan, isn't it correct that she didn't seem to be quite herself?
Yeah, she was a little bit off, but I mean, school was a little stressful.
And since you studied concussions, you were fully aware of some of the symptoms of it, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And isn't not feeling quite like oneself, is that not one of the symptoms of a concussion?
Yes, but that's also common in many other types of, just because you don't feel quite like yourself is something a form of concussion.
And you also saw Ms. Donovan on the Thursday of the week of 28th, correct?
That is correct.
And instead of, and this 28th, you elected to send Ms. Donovan to the library to study because she didn't seem quite herself, correct?
That is correct.
And did the forms that you handed out elaborate on what to do if you knew that you were experiencing a concussion?
I believe they did.
Is it not a person's choice to tell somebody, an adult, if they are experiencing the symptoms of a concussion?
Yes, but there are, the person that's been injured isn't the only one involved. Are adults and other people that should also take charge.
And can you say that Ms. Donovan never told you that she felt she was experiencing a concussion?
She could not tell me. No.
And can you say that if Ms. Donovan had a concussion and she knew about these symptoms, that it would have been her choice not to?
I believe so, yes, but I wasn't really relevant in the situation.
I have no further questions.
Redirect.
No.
You may sit down. Is that all the witnesses for the plaintiff?
Yes, Your Honor.
Defense ready to call the first witness.
Yes, Your Honor, the defense would like to call Shane Dempsey. Can you please state your name for the court?
My name is Shannon Dempsey.
And can you give us a little bit of information on your educational background?
Yes, I was a student back in college for Julian College in Rome, New Caesarea, and I played soccer for them. I was the second lead scorer, even though I played midfield. My last years of college, Jordan Reddick, the Rubicon director, came to me and offered me a full-time job. And so I decided to accept. I had previously been offered by the pro team, the New Caesarea Falcons, to play for them, but let's be honest here, Falcons don't really make, pro soccer players don't make that much money unless you're a superstar.
Can you please tell us about your occupation as right now?
Right now, I'm coaching 3 boys soccer teams, the under 15 boys team, the under 16 boys team, and the under 17 boys team.
And can you tell us some of the requirements that Rubicon has in order to be a coach team?
We are required to obtain a national D-level license from the United States Soccer Federation, otherwise known as the USSF.
Earlier in this case, exhibit number 5 was entered into the court as evidence. Are you familiar with this one?
I am. It is the medical waiver form that all my players are required to fill in and turn in to the team manager.
And what is the purpose of this form?
The form is to give us permission if the player was to be injured, to let them have medical treatment if their parent is absent.
And did you oversee a practice the Monday, 28th of November?
Yes, yes, I did.
And what can you tell me about Ms. Donovan's performance on this practice?
She was playing great. You know, she's she's the best player on the team. She suddenly took a fall, and I decided to take her out the last 10 minutes because she came up and she was holding her head and seemed dizzy. So I just wanted to make sure she was perfectly okay. I didn't want to further injure her.
And what any steps did Ms. Donovan tell you that she may have been feeling differently after this practice?
She never, after practicing it, she never told me anything. She just went straight to her car.
And can you please tell us about Rubicon's procedures for when they know a player is injured?
Well, if I know, if anyone comes to me or Jordan Reddick about an injury, we make sure not
Coach Dempsey, you started coaching at UConn in 2009, correct?
Yes.
And for the first 3 years, you coached only boys, correct?
Yes.
And you said that you prefer coaching boys because you have a hard time telling what girls are thinking, correct?
Yes, they're more into the social drama.
So Mia's team was the first girls' team you ever coached?
Yes.
Now, to play on your teams, all players had to fill out the ACE medical form that's been, the medical consent form that's been entered into evidence to the law, correct?
Yes.
We are on permission to give Liz a copy of the file.
It's been entered into evidence, right?
So, Coach Dempsey, are you familiar with this document?
Yes, it's a medical consent form.
And this was the one that Mia Donovan turned in to the team at UConn, correct?
Yes, it was handed to the team manager.
Now, if you can read along silently as I read aloud, under list any unusual health information, it says mild concussion in May of 2011 on a school team. Did I read that correctly?
Yes.
So Mia had put information on this medical form about her history of concussion, correct?
Yes, but as I said before, it's not meant to inform us. It's to give us permission to let them have medical treatment should their parent be absent.
So under the list any unusual health information, you expected just not to learn anything about any unusual health circumstances.
That would be for the doctors who would be treating her.
But this was turned into the team manager, not the doctor's office, correct?
As I stated before, it is meant for insurance information and to give us permission to make sure that the child is treated.
So you never did check out this sheet, did you?
No.
For Mia's injury? And you also say that you regret doing this, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, if we can move on to the practice on the Monday right after Thanksgiving, 5 days before the college showcase game. During that practice, Mia tripped and fell on her head, correct?
Yes.
And you noticed that she hit her head pretty hard, correct?
Yes.
And she seemed slow to get up, and she seemed confused.
Yes.
And she was holding her head, saying that she was Now, Mia went home before you said you could check up on her like you wanted to, correct?
Yes.
Did you end up calling Mia afterwards?
No.
Did you advise Mia to talk to any medical personnel?
No. I figured if there was anything wrong, she would contact me or someone of authority.
Now, and after seeing her hit her head during practice, did you tell Casey Donovan about this?
No, I figured she would tell her mom when she got home.
And all this time, you did not know that Mia had had a past concussion, correct?
That's correct.
Now let's move on. 2 days later, on Wednesday, this is her first practice of the weekend, correct?
Yes.
And you thought that was unusual, correct?
Yes, she explained to me that was because she was studying for some exams that she had to take, and she was needed to study and just do all this.
And it never ever crossed your mind that it was because 2 days before she was dizzy, confused, slow to get up, and that she hit her head pretty hard, correct?
No, I mean, she told me she was studying for tests. Why should I do anything else?
Now, let's move on to the next Thursday. She does come to practice, but you do notice that she still seems tired and quieter than usual, correct?
Yes.
And you still didn't know that she had concussion, correct?
That's correct. I figured she was still exhausted from all the exams, and if there was anything still wrong with her, I would have expected her to come to me about the situation so I could help her.
And so because you didn't think any connection between Monday or her resulting condition afterwards, you let her play on the college showcase that Friday, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so let's move on to the game. During the first, you noticed that during the first half, Mia wasn't her usual self still, correct?
That's correct.
So after the Monday practice, it was Friday, and you still did not draw any conclusion about the concussion, correct?
That's correct.
And then somewhere, at some point during the first half, Mia gets jostled by a defender, correct?
Yes.
And when she jogged back into position, she didn't seem to have her usual energy, even beyond her already quieter self, correct? But you did keep her in the game, correct?
Yes.
Now during halftime, the co-captain of the team, Megan, told you that Mia was acting unlike herself, correct?
Objection, Your Honor, please.
Your Honor, However, this goes not to the truth of the matter asserted, but to the effect on the listener.
Objection overruled.
Yes, sir.
You may ask your question.
Yes, sir. So during halftime, the co-captain of the team, along with Mia and Megan, told you that Mia was acting unlike herself, correct?
Yes, she did.
And she suggested that you pull her out, correct?
Yes, she did.
But you did not, correct?
Yes.
So you let her stay in the game because she wanted to, correct?
Yeah, I knew how important this game was to her, she wanted to be as much as possible. She had mentioned that this is the only way she could get a scholarship.
And finally, during the second half, Mia's tackled by the defender. She hits her head hard on the ground, correct?
Yes, it was quite a shock.
And you say that you would have watched Mia more closely if you'd known about the past concussion, correct?
Yes, if she or her mother had informed me something about a serious concussion, I definitely would get them much closer on her. I would not want to injure her. She's a great player and a great kid.
No further questions.
Redirect.
No, you won't.
You may step down. Defense can call their next witness.
Yes, Your Honor. The defense calls Jordan Reddick to the stand. State your name for the court, please.
Jordan Reddick.
Please tell us about your educational background.
I have a degree in sports administration from Julian College, which covers things like sports marketing, financing, event management, which has helped me greatly in my position as a comms director.
What did you do after college?
I ended up playing professionally in Tokyo United for a few years, and then I came back home to New Caesarea in 1998, where I began coaching part-time for Triad while working as one of their directors. In 2006, a position opened up for Rubicon, and I took that grade.
What did you most for coaching?
Probably a tie between marketing and sports administration, which helps a lot with the practical side and management, and my years spent playing professionally, which gave me a true love of the sport, and also taught me a lot of the practical realities of coaching, how to show players how to move correctly.
When did Rubicon start?
2005.
What standards do you set for your coaches?
I set quite high standards. I required my Classics team's coaches to have played in college, and I also required all of my coaches to obtain a national D-level license.
Will you please describe the class to obtain these licenses?
Sure. They're quite rigorous. They covered sports techniques, coaching tactics, and also a short session on first aid.
Since Rubicon began, has the program grown?
Yes, it has.
Will you please describe what you have observed about the growth of the program?
We are now the third largest club in the state, quite an upgrade from just beginning in 2005. We have over 2,000 players playing for us, which amounts to 20 Classics teams, boys and girls. And we have about 24 of our students go on to play for colleges annually.
Does Rubicon have any programs related to player health and safety?
Yes, we do.
Will you please describe them?
We have our ACL injury prevention project, which is done in conjunction with Julian College. We have people from Julian come and show our students how to move correctly to avoid tearing their ACL, which, for those of you who aren't soccer players, is a ligament in the knee that supports it. It's a huge injury in soccer, one of the most common ones that they can be really, well, it can end a soccer player's career, honestly. It usually requires surgical repair and up to 6 to 9 months of rehab. So naturally, we want to avoid that. So it's really easy. It's not that it's easy to avoid, but if a player knows what they're doing, if the player's shown how to move correctly, to avoid collisions, to land from a jump correctly, to avoid trying to turn while their foot's planted, then it can go a long way toward knocking down ACL tear rates. And our program actually seems to be working. We now have some of the lowest tear rates in the state.
Are you familiar with an organization named U.S. Soccer Federation?
Yes, the USSF.
What is the USSF?
It is one of the foremost authorities in the soccer world. They are a nonprofit organization whose goal is to educate soccer coaches and organizations about health and safety and risk in the sport. They want to make sure it stays fun and safe for everyone.
What types of info does the USSF provide to Rubicon?
Well, we actually got some of our information for the ACL prevention project from them. They tend to have nutrition information on their sites, and they also have a lot of hydration stuff, and they also post any relevant information as it comes up in the soccer world.
What, if anything, have you done when you became aware of specific health or safety recommendations provided by the USSF?
I have always tried to implement them into Rubicon's policies. I want to protect my players. I want to make sure they can play safely and play the sport that I love and I want them to love too.
In your experience, how common are concussions with soccer players?
Not very. When I was playing soccer, the main concerns were broken bones and torn ACLs. We never really talked about concussions.
When did the USSF start educating soccer players about concussions?
They began publishing information on the subject in March of 2012 on the website.
What reason do you have to believe that you would not have implemented the concussion programs recommended by the USSF had you known about them at the time?
I have no reason. I've previously stated I always try to do my utmost to protect my players. And if I had known that this was such a big thing in soccer, if I had realized that it was possible for soccer players to sustain severe concussions, I would have done something to protect my players.
Okay, our subsequent legal measures.
I don't have any objection.
It's
Could you
subsequent.
restate your objection?
I'm sorry?
And please restate your objection.
Subsequent legal measures.
Yeah, response.
Then I'm going to sustain the objection.
Okay, sir.
Move on, you can ask your next question.
What is your relationship with Mia Donovan?
She plays for Rubicon under the coaching of Shane Dempsey.
What did you see at the college showcase tournament that took place on Friday, December 2nd, 2011?
Concerning Coach Dempsey's game, I only saw part of the second half. I was coaching one of my old teams, and I came in about halftime, just in time to see that the score was still 0-0. About 10 minutes into the second half, Mia was about to score, and the defender collided with her, and she went down hard.
What, if anything, did Mia Donovan or her parent tell you before this game?
Nothing. I was never contacted.
What did Ms. Donovan say to you after the practice on November 28th?
We didn't speak at all that week.
I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Cross-examination.
Yes, sir. Mrs. Wright, is it true that you were originally a coach at Triad?
It is.
And is it true that you were happy when you left Triad for Rubicon?
I was. I disagreed slightly with their coaching philosophy, and I was looking forward to putting my own ideals into place at Rubicon.
In December 2011, in the college showcase game that Mia was in, was Mia's team playing against a Triad team?
They were.
Did you believe that the other team should have been easily beaten?
I did. I thought that my players had been trained well and that they would be talented.
To put it in your own words, you were looking forward to watching the slaughter, correct?
Yes, Mr. Counsel, I was. I'm an avid soccer fan.
All right, and during that game, you thought that Mia could have scored a hat trick, but you initially noticed that she appeared uncoordinated, correct?
Yes, I did.
Did it occur to you to suggest to Shannon to check on Mia?
No, I try not to hover over my coaches. It tends to make them nervous.
And later, you noticed that she still wasn't running her usual speed, correct?
Yes, I did.
And she looked confused, correct?
Yeah, I thought she might perhaps be sick or something.
In that case, at that point, did you suggest Shannon pull her out?
No.
So you first noticed these problems in Mia, and then after you noticed them, she collided with a defender and was sent to the hospital, correct?
Yes.
Alright. Is it true that back in 2010, you saw a CDC heads-up concussion kit at a Pride tournament?
Yes, I did. But since I thought the CDC only, tried to find the causes of disease epidemics, I didn't really understand exactly what they were offering.
So you did not pick up one of these kits?
I did not.
And you did not go back later to pick one up?
No, I was busy at a soccer tournament.
To your knowledge, do you know if any of your coaches picked one up?
No. Not to my knowledge.
Alright, we're going to move on to something else now. Does Rubicon have paid athletic trainers or therapists?
No, we do not. We can't.
So in order to provide medical advice, you partnered with Julian College sports medicine students, correct?
Yes.
And once a player is injured, you usually refer these students to these college students, correct?
Yes, we do.
Was Mia ever referred to?
Not to my knowledge.
And with the Julian College, you established your ACL program, correct?
Yes, we have.
And you believe that ACL injuries are more common than concussions, correct?
I do.
But in your soccer career, you never suffered from an ACL injury before, right?
No, I do not.
And Isn't it true that when you played soccer, you yourself once suffered a concussion?
Yes, playing professional, which tends to be a little more contact intensive than playing for a club.
And several of your teammates suffered from concussions as well, right?
Yes.
Is it true that ACLs are not good for athletes?
The ACL is very important to athletes and helps them with their leg.
But people who tear their ACLs can eventually return to their sport, right?
Yeah, usually yes, if the surgical repair goes correctly.
And you say that ACL can end a player's career.
Possibly, it depends on how well they heal after the injury and they obey the doctor's instructions.
And they require 6 to 9 months of rehabilitation to return to the sport, right?
Yes,
Were you present to hear the testimony of Dr. Nursing?
I was.
Did you hear him testify that Mia's concussion will most likely leave lasting effects for the rest of her life?
Yes, I was. It deeply saddened me.
And based on this, is it true that concussions can also end a career?
In this case, it has been, yes.
In 2011, Rubicon did not have any handouts to give to athletes with general health and injury prevention information, correct?
No, as I previously stated, we were not aware that it was prevalent in soccer.
So you were not aware that injuries were prevalent in soccer?
No, I was not aware that head injuries were prevalent in soccer.
But you said that you don't give out any handouts with general health and injury prevention information.
No, we have that information on our website.
But your website only has information about hydration and nutrition, and not concussions, right?
Yes, we are one of the few clubs in the state who has any health information on their website.
Okay, to access this information, your athletes have to go online and search for it, right?
Yes, we assume that most teenagers are competent with using it.
All right, in that case, before Mia's injury in December, did you or did you not search for concussion information on the U.S. Youth Soccer Association website?
Before or after?
Uh,
I did not.
And before Mia's injury, you didn't search on the U.S. Soccer Federation website either, right?
No, I did not.
To clarify, you are the director of Rubicon, right?
I am.
As part of your job, are you supposed to instate procedures to the club to follow?
I am.
Your Honor, permission to show the witness one of the previously entered evidence in the back?
Yeah, Bruce.
Is this the medical consent and waiver that Rubicon requires of the athletes?
Yes, it is.
Could you point out to where on this sheet you require athletes to put previous concussion history?
There is no list.
Can you point out to where you require the athletes to put physical information?
There's a place for unusual health information. We don't necessarily want to give students a long form with a bunch of boxes to check for different problems.
All right, you can speak now. Rubicon do not have any procedures for educating players or coaches about concussions during the time of Mia's injury, correct?
No, we do not.
And Rubicon didn't have any procedures for if a player did suffer a concussion, correct?
No, we do not.
So as director, you didn't instate any concussion procedures at all?
No, as I previously stated, I was not aware that it was prevalent in soccer to this degree.
No further questions, Your Honor?
Be ready. You missed it. Nancy, call the next witness.
Yes, Your Honor, we would like to call Chris Ryan. Please state your name for the record.
I'm Chris Durant. I'm a senior at Rome High School and a graduate Dominance.
How do you know Mia?
We've been friends since middle school. We ran track together there, and we take lots of AP classes together now.
Did any of these classes discuss concussions?
Yes, we took advanced personal fitness under Coach Tobin at Raleigh, where he emphasized player health and often talked about concussions.
Your Honor, permission to approach the witness and opposing counsel would like to waive.
You bet.
you recognize this poster?
Yeah.
Where do you recognize it from?
School.
Where in school?
It's all over school, in the halls, up on the walls.
Your Honor, permission to enter exhibit number 8 into evidence.
Any objection? Exhibit 8 is introduced.
Could you read for me this left section of the poster?
Objection, Your Honor. I'm sorry. Would you please make sense?
Could you please read for me this left section of the poster?
All concussions are serious. If you think you have a concussion, don't hide it, report it, and take time to recover.
Thank you. Did you and Mia Donovan have an occasion to discuss concussions?
Yes.
And when?
After her practice on November 28th, we talked about it.
Was this before or after you and Ms. Donovan participated in Coach O'Reilly's classes about concussions?
After.
Was this before or after Coach O'Reilly placed exhibits, or copies of Exhibit 8 around the school?
After.
During this conversation about concussions, what did Ms. Donovan tell you?
Objection, Your Honor. Hearsay.
Under Rule 801D, it lists any statements made by the opposing party previously as accepted. So she is a party opponent.
If you'll just address the court. Sorry. I'm sorry. You can continue, Mr. Arnold.
She's the party opponent.
I'm sorry. All right, I'm going to overrule the objection. You can ask your question.
So what did Ms. Donovan tell you during this discussion?
She told me that she had been hit during practice on November 28th, and that she felt like she did when she first got a concussion in May 2011.
Did you tell anyone about this conversation?
No.
Why didn't you tell anyone?
Mia told me not to tell anyone. She told me that if I were to tell anyone, that she might not be able to play in the college showcase tournament.
Your Honor, I have no further questions.
Cross-examination.
Yes, Your Honor. You were going to high school with me at our before she was there, correct?
Yes.
And one of those classes you took with her was advanced personal fitness under Coach O'Reilly, correct?
Yes.
And Coach O'Reilly has talked about the importance of telling a coach or a parent about concussion symptoms, correct?
Yes.
Yet you didn't tell anybody about Mia's symptoms, correct?
No, she was the one who thought she sustained an injury and thought she could take care of herself.
So, no.
No.
You're pretty good friends with Mia, correct?
Yeah.
When you guys hang out, the topic of soccer and Rubicon Soccer Club comes up often, correct?
Yes, I'm in Key Club with her and then in the friends from Rubicon.
Okay, so for a club team, then winning games is very important, even more important than on a school team, because the reputation of the club is at stake, correct?
Yes.
And you've seen players being demoted for just being sick during your time of tryouts, correct?
I haven't.
Okay. And Mia overheard Jordan Wright, the director of the Rubicon Soccer Club, saying that it didn't matter if the player was sick. If they couldn't tough it out during tryouts, they'd be useless in tough games, correct?
Yes, she has told me that before.
So, going back to the question before that, you've been told of instances where players were demoted for just being sick during tryouts,
I
correct?
have been told of that.
Even players that performed at high standards during the previous year.
Yes.
And we've also heard from Mia that the club was too ruthless and too quick to demote players who were just having a bad day.
Yes, she has told me that before.
In 2008, you remember a bunch of news stories about athletes who got seriously injured and even died after suffering repeat concussions, correct?
Yes, Coach O'Reilly told us that.
Two of these incidents happened right here in New Caesarea, correct?
Yes.
Redirect.
No, Your Honor.
You may step in. Any further witnesses from the defense?
Mia Donovan was climbing the ladder of success. Her soccer career had just taken off, and a future of stardom was in her sights. But then Shannon Dempsey, Jordan Reddick, and Rubus Khan Soccer Club came along. They came and destroyed her future. They came and they shook Mia's ladder until she fell. She fell all the way down. She came crashing to the ground, landing on her head. And she's left with debilitating injuries for the rest of her life. She can never get back up, and she can never climb that ladder ever again. And this is because Shannon, Jordan, and Rubicon Soccer Club did not step up and take responsibility for their players. They were negligent. A, they had a duty to maintain player safety. They were supposed to hold that ladder steady. B, they breached this duty when they didn't use ordinary care. They shook the ladder. And C, thus this caused Mia's injuries. First, Shannon Dempsey, as Mia's coach, is supposed to ensure the safety of all her players. Jordan Reddick, as Rubicon's director, is supposed to instate the necessary procedures to educate and protect his players and coaches about concussions. Following this duty is not hard. Mia's high school coach, Hoban O'Reilly, has no problem ensuring the safety of all their players. Hoban O'Reilly made sure to educate their players. She made sure to look after them. She made sure that they recovered from their injuries. Hoban O'Reilly made sure to step up and secure Mia's ladder so that she wouldn't fall. But apparently, the people at Rubicon can't do this. Maybe because they wanted to win too badly, or maybe because they just didn't care. Shannon was always too busy, too distant from players to truly care for them. She not only fails to check papers that would have told her Mia had previously suffered concussion, but she actually forgets to check up on Mia when Mia gets whacked in the head right in front of her during practice. But Shannon is not an expert at recognizing concussions, but according to the court ruling in Logatgat v. Woodlands Parish School Board, coaches are still supposed to be able to act reasonably and recognize medical situations, even if they're not experts. But Shannon didn't do this. And next we have Jordan. Jordan didn't state any policies about concussions at all, even when he himself knew the dangers because he himself and several of his teammates suffered a concussion before. He too forgets to pick up a CDC kit when he sees one at a triathlon event. He trusts college kids to have enough knowledge to treat other kids. And he posts some information on the club website, which is as good as useless if no one looks for it. Jordan himself doesn't do concussion research, and that's his job. So why would he expect his players to? Now you heard Mia's friend Chris, that Mia wanted to keep playing even though he didn't feel it. Yes, this is true, but Mia is not playing for the majority of the fault in this case. Mia's mother, Casey, was trying to create the foundation of Mia's success. And in Mia's concussive state, she made some misguided and confused choices to continue playing in order to impress college coaches and hopefully gain the upper foot for a future soccer career. But Shannon Dempsey is supposed to protect Mia from these misguided decisions, but she doesn't. Therefore, this is contributory negligence where the majority of the fault lies on the defendants. And finally, Shannon's breach of duty is the proximate cause of Mia's injuries. At any point, Shannon could force Mia to stop playing rest, but she doesn't. She doesn't find out that Mia had previously suffered a concussion. She doesn't find out, or she doesn't stop Mia from playing when Mia gets hit in the head during practice. And she doesn't stop Mia from playing when Mia gets hit in the head in the first half of the soccer game. Even when her fellow teammate tells Shannon that Mia isn't looking right, but Shannon doesn't listen. And now Shannon argues that she couldn't have prevented Mia's injuries. Members of the jury, as the facts have shown, the defendants have caused the destruction of young Mia Dunham's bright future. At the top of Mia's ladder was a land of rainbows and butterflies. But the defendants caused Mia to fall off that ladder, and now they won't accept the blame. Are you going to let Mia win? And thus, we the plaintiff ask you to step up and find the defendants liable for negligence. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Defense ready to give closing statement?
Yes, Your Honor, I ask for your permission to move about.
You may.
Mia Donovan, she made a choice, and unfortunately it was the wrong one. We showed through our testimonies of our witnesses, Shannon Dempsey, Jordan Reddick, and Chris Durant, that we had not been a burden of proof. We showed through Shannon Dempsey that Mia did not tell her coach about her prior concussion, and that she did take her out the last 10 minutes of practice. But after practice, Mia ran to her car, not even trying to talk to her coach. We showed through Jordan Reddick that Mia nor her parents ever verbally told Wilcon Soccer Club about her prior concussion. And we showed through Chris Durant that Mia wanted to hide it. She did not want anybody to know about it. She made that choice. The plaintiff called Dr. Register to the stand. They did not call a medical doctor to the stand. They did not call even Mia's own personal physician. Of the numerous ones out there, they didn't bring one in. Injuries occur in sports every day, whether they are minor injuries like scrapes and bruises, or major injuries like broken bones, and in this case, a concussion. Bad things happen to good people every day, and does not mean somebody has to pay. Yes, in hindsight, there could have been a better policy about concussions, but you cannot say that my clients were more negligent than Mia Donovan. And for that reason, we ask you to find our clients not guilty. Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you, counsel. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
With that concluding the trial, I would ask everybody in the crowd, let's give everybody a big round of applause. Y'all did a really good job. I know how hard it is to get up there and stand. Does the timekeeper give the time sheet, the final time sheet? I think we were supposed to turn that in first. Before we retire, does any team have any material rule violations they'd like to address with the board? I'll give the time sheet to the clerk. We'll retire back here for a moment. If y'all just be at ease, I'm going to hand out the Star Attorney Awards and the Star Witness Awards to each side. Y'all know what those are? Okay. Y'all just want to approach. I'll give one to each team, and y'all can fill those out before. Don't get it now. Really good job. I guess we can go through and we're going to give a couple minute critique and then we'll be done. My name's Philip Cowan. I'm an assistant district attorney here in Wake County. So I'm in these courtrooms every day. I did mock trial in law school, and I've done this competition for a while now. I'll let our scoring jurors go through and introduce themselves, and if you want to give your critiques, let Chris start.
Hey, everybody. My name is Chris Nichols. I'm a lawyer here in Raleigh. I have my own law firm. I'm a civil trial lawyer, so generally I'm sitting at that table, the plaintiff's table with burden of proof. My comments are that I would first like to congratulate all the parents, the coaches, and the teachers who get these teams here. I started coaching mock trial in the first or second year of the program, which I am a little scared to say was like 19 years ago. But I did it in high school myself, so it's been a long time that I've been doing it, and I know what it takes to get everybody here ready and not throwing up in the bathroom. So that's, congratulations on just getting here. The only three comments I have are just kind of tips from having coached and done it myself. There's something that I call road signs. And by the way, both teams did a great job. You argued it well, and you're good competition for each other. So like, things that might improve, road signs, lawyers need to use them too. And that is, when you're asking a bunch of questions as jurors, they kind of blend together. It's good every once in a while, one or two of you did this, said, okay, now let me direct your attention to the night of the such and such. And then everybody kind of goes, oh, we're not talking about that anymore, we're talking about this. And in real life, these trials take weeks, and so we do that to keep the jurors awake. But it makes your questions clearer to just have a road sign and say, now let's talk about the day she got the concussion. Now I'm going to turn your attention, Mr. Witness, to such and such. Just a tip. And then the other tip I'll say is the phrase, tell the jury. Because at the end of the day, particularly in real life, it doesn't matter so much what the judge thinks. It doesn't matter what my co-counsel or opposing counsel thinks. It matters what these people over here who say, you know, guilty, not guilty, liable, not liable say. So when you get to that killer question, the smoking gun that's going to zing that witness that they can't answer any other way than the way you want them to, you say, Mr. or Mrs. Witness, isn't it true that you completely ignored the information on this form? Please tell the jury the answer. And they kind of look at the jury. Yeah. So just remember your audience. Tell the jury. So those are my two little points. You guys did great. Congratulations. I hope you do well in the rest of the competition.
My name is Andy Buckner. I'm a lawyer. I practice here downtown with actually a defense firm, so I'm normally sitting with the guys in the dark seats over there. My practice is entirely civil litigation, so kind of what you guys are doing here sometimes on the personal injury side, medical malpractice, and that sort of thing. Great job. The first thing I thought was, I really wish I'd had an opportunity to do something like this in high school. I had no such opportunity, but I was super impressed with both teams and the amount of preparation that's gone into it. Obviously, you guys know these cases backwards and forwards, and that was really apparent. And I'm very impressed with the poise that a lot of you showed here. This is difficult to come into a place like this in front of people that you don't necessarily know. You know you're being judged, and to actually have to be able to think clearly and think on your feet. And a lot of law students even realize that real quickly when they're put in that position. And I'll let you on a little secret, that lawyers are a little nervous in these situations a lot of times. So a lot of the things that I saw as far as things that could be done better, I would chalk most of those things up to just being a little nervous. And some of that can be cured through preparation, trying to stay relaxed, trying to remember you're doing the best job you can. But a lot of that just has to be remedied through experience. And you guys are gaining that experience with every time you do this. The best lawyers I know at what they do are the ones who are fearless, and they're not afraid of being on their feet, being the star of the show. And a lot of that fearlessness comes from just experience and preparation, all those things that you've done. The biggest general tip I would give all of you would be that remember your job in here at all times is to communicate, and to communicate effectively, whether it's with a judge, whether it's with a jury. And just because you understand something doesn't mean a jury does. And I was kind of amazed here, not knowing anything about your case, how quickly some of you guys are rolling through these fact patterns and that sort of thing. And so when in doubt, I would say slow down. And that's difficult to do when you have such a limited time frame. You got a bailiff over there throwing comments at you and trying to share all that quickly. But again, I congratulate you. I congratulate your coaches and your parents and your schools for such a great job, and hope y'all continue doing this. Thank you.
My name is Patrick Schutte. I'm with Schutte Law of North Raleigh, and you guys are fantastic. This is about the 10th year I've done this. Blending with what they said, confidence is the key to everything. You can be really nervous inside, as long as you don't exhibit any outward manifestation of it, nobody will know, only you. Remember that. Be confident. Our motto growing up was often wrong, never in doubt. You're unsure of the answer, you're unsure of what you just said was completely ridiculous or not. If you maintain confidence about your being, nobody will know. If you hear something in the middle of the testimony that you're like, oh my goodness, they just gave us the case, one of you write it down on a piece of paper. The other person doesn't need to go through all 15 more questions. You just got what you needed. Know when to stop. To do that, you have to listen to what the person says. If you win, you know it, stop asking questions, because the jury will know it too. For instance, I'm so sorry, it was my fault, or I should have done that. Thank you, no more questions, because that's what you were looking for. imagery, stay focused. When it's not your turn to speak, sit up straight and be engaged. It's the most important thing that ever happened in your life. Okay? Don't just go roll, roll, roll. Everyone is in every role. You're all players in your teammates' roles. So remember that. Witnesses too. Okay? Great job, guys. I'm so proud to see you do so well year after year, and the level of the skill goes up every year. So I think the competition will be. Let's give them a round of applause.
I'll make a few comments also. As I said, my name's Philip Cowan. I work in the DA's office, so I've been in this courtroom a million times. I'm fortunate enough that I get to try jury trials on a monthly basis. I probably tried 40 jury trials. I've been in the DA's office 5 years now, so I get to do a lot of interesting things. A lot of my comments are going to reflect the same thing because what you want to be in here, y'all did great. Your preparation, you can tell you're prepared, you do the stuff, y'all practice this, you work hard, and it really shows. That's what's important. When you go into court, you can tell the people who read the material, who are prepared for their cases, who can do the things. A judge told me one time when I was talking to him, be the best you that you can be. That's how you become believable. That's how you get a jury to believe you. That's how people trust you. Be the best you that you can be. Don't try to imitate what somebody else is doing, but when you get comfortable and when you can talk and make it conversational, that's how it really becomes believable, and that's ultimately what you're trying to do. You're trying to get this jury to trust you, believe what you're saying. And there's several different things. Just being in here and doing this is what makes you comfortable in here. And the more you do it, the more you listen to yourself. I had a little dictaphone. I don't even know if they have those anymore, but the little tape players. When I was doing the trial competitions, I'd set it on the couch and I'd sit there and talk to couch cushions and then replay that. And you listen to your voice then, you listen to these little idiosyncrasies that you might say, and that's really, that's what I thought sort of helped me move on. Repeating words and things in cross-examination. Like sometimes at the end of cross-examination, you always say the same thing correct. The more you change it up, the more interesting it becomes for jurors because they're just sitting there listening to this stuff. They don't know it. So the more that, the more interesting you can make it, the better off that they are. But I think they said y'all did a really good job and keep working at it. These communication skills will help you whether you want to go to law school, whether you go to college. Communication is what's important. You can use it everywhere because that's what business is about. That's what everything's about, being able to communicate. And that's what you're polishing here. So really good job.
So they're adding up scores, and once they get all the things coordinated, they're going to tell you guys who's moving up to the final round, I guess.